Hello everyone, welcome back to Classic Automotive Services. Right, this week, like I said last week, we've had a little bit of a bitty week this week. I had to do a repair on one of the bits of farm machinery here. It's only a fairly quick little repair. Then on Friday, the lift was being serviced, so that tied up the morning. So yeah, a little bit of a bitty week. But we spent the beginning part of the week on the Oporto TR8, and we've now got that to the point where it starts, runs, drives. So we'll have a look at that in a minute, as there's still a fair amount to sort of go through on it and adjustments and things like that to do, but it's really made a lot of progress and it's doing really well. We've got the Dolomite Sprint back on the lift, as that's next in line to be sorted. So I'm going to actually have a look at this afternoon, starting to bleed the brakes, the clutch, and fit the prop shaft. And again, that's then this one starting. This one then starts, runs, and drives once the brakes and the clutch are bled off. And it's then just some assembly work, fit the heater, refit the interior, grills, lights, that sort of thing, to make it so that it's pretty much roadworthy. And then, yeah, like I said last week again, the owner's then going to decide what he wants to do with the bodywork. I believe he's going to take it away initially, and put it into his storage, as he wants me to have a look at one of his other vehicles. He's got some electrical gremlins on it, so he wants to swap it over. And plus, got that other green Dolomite, which is the same owner. He wants that to try and get that up and running at some point soon as well. So, yeah, I think the plan is to get it so it runs and drives, and he's then going to use it for a little bit, and then make up his mind how far he goes with it. So that's where we're up to this week. We'll have a look at the Oporto TR8. What I'll do is quickly show you the aircon hoses for it. So one of the next jobs on the Oporto 8 is to start reinstating the aircon system. So we've got the aircon pump is on the car. The aircon rad, the condenser, is in as well, but it's only bolted in loosely, as it's nice to have a little bit of movement so that you can attach the pipework easier. So the pipework. Now, I've got one missing, I know that. I haven't worked out exactly which one just yet. I've got to look through the diagrams. But also we've got one that's melted, that one here. So that one's been on the exhaust at some point and got melted. So this one goes from the dryer. You've got the dryer in the engine bay down to the condenser. So, and obviously this bit here runs quite close up the side of the engine, where the front exhaust comes out on the front cylinder, and that's what's happened to that. This one, the big one, that comes from the bulkhead where the heater pipes are and runs down the side of the engine bay. And then this one comes, that one comes from the pump, again up to the dryer, to the side of the dryer. And it's got one that's got the valve on it to charge the system. Now, the pipe I've got missing is the other side of this, where it comes out with the valve on it, which I'm assuming will link to that one. So, yeah, I've got to have a look at the diagram and work it out, and see if we can acquire one, and then get that one remade, and hopefully the aircon system will actually work. So that's where we're up to on it, but we'll go and have a look at it as it does now start and drive, and we'll show you around it. So here we've got the engine all back in and all buttoned up. Like I said, there's a few small adjustments to do on it. Got to set the throttle cable tension, as it's got a little bit too much play in at the moment. Kick down cable needs a little bit of adjustment. Other than that, the engine's pretty happy. If anyone's been following the build, We've managed to get hold of new O2 sensors and reinstate the O2 sensor system on the engine. I've got the aircon pump on now. All the belts are on, apart from the aircon pump belt. Cooling system's all done and up and running. Yep, it's pretty much there. Power steering works lovely, and it actually drives incredibly well. When I drove it up the road, yes, it hasn't got any number plates or anything on it, but we're on a private road here, so I took it up the road, and it's actually got less knocks and rattles in the car than my Audi has, which is quite an achievement. So, but what we'll do is we'll spin it over. She is stone cold. If you feel the engine, I'll put man on manifolds. There. So it's stone cold. I'll fire it up. It'll go on to cold start. So now we did put a little video on our Facebook page and online of it starting, and we got some comments saying it was idling fast. Technically true, but it also wasn't, as it was on cold start, and it has got a cold start system on it. So here you've got your cold start injector, which will inject fuel straight into the top of the plenum. And of course, you can't just add more fuel to get it going. You have to add a bit more air as well. So of course, it's going to run a bit faster. The system's designed to do that. It's got many temperature sensors on it, so as it picks up different temperatures, it will then come off of fast idle, which it does. It works perfectly. So we'll spin it over. I don't know if we'll run it for long enough to get it off of fast idle, but it might. All right, let's just spin it over. There we go. It's literally on the button. So just spin it over, bang, fires straight up. And it runs silky smooth. It really does. Runs absolutely beautifully. If we go around to the back, you'll hear the exhaust note. It's nice and smooth, got a real nice deep burble to it. So you can hear it just settling down a little bit. It's smoothing out. It's actually picking up a little bit, but then eventually it will come down when it warms up. So if we go back to the front, you'll hear it. Eventually it will actually slow down. So we'll see what it does. So it actually warms up. Just give it a little bit of rev. Hang on. It's getting a little bit of warmth in it now, and it's starting to slow down a little bit. So she's coming down. So we'll go and have a look at the other car that we mentioned last week, the 2500 as well in a minute. We'll show you what we're going to be doing on that. And then we'll say what we've got in next week. As next week, got an interesting week as well. Is she warming up? Going to warm up or not? Yeah, she's warming up now. She's slowed right down. If you're going to have a look at the rev count now, that'll be pretty much where it should be. There we are. Yep, she's slowed down just under 1,000, and it will go down probably a little bit more as she warms up a bit more. So yep, she's all good. So we'll turn her off. So you've got a few things to go through on it. I'm going to have to talk to the owner about a few things on it. At the moment, the alternator appears to not be charging, whether it's the electrical fault on the car or the alternator itself. I don't know. I haven't looked into it yet. The exhaust system, it's an aftermarket exhaust system, stainless steel system, and I've yet to find one yet that fits quite nicely. The system that's on it came with the car, and yeah, I'm not overly happy with the fitment of it. Main concern with it is on the right hand side, the rear exhaust pipe where it goes up and over the axle is just incredibly close to the fuel pump and filter assembly. but it can't go anywhere else as the mounts won't line up for the rubber donuts. So yeah, it's way too close for my liking. So obviously heat and fuel don't really mix that well. So yeah, there's a few little things I want to sort of speak to the owner about when he's not quite so busy. I have to find out when he's available to have a chat. We've got a few electrical gremlins on it, which again, nothing serious, just general sort of things, probably where the car's been sat. We've got no brake lights at the moment. The wipers, they do their own thing. You turn them on and then you can't turn them off, and then eventually you can get them to go off, so it's probably a fault switch. It's just odds and ends like that, really, which again, nothing complicated, not on this anyway. The hard bit of getting the engine in and getting it running, that's done. And it's running very, very well. But we're going to look at the 2500 PI that we announced last week, as we haven't shown it yet. Now, it is in a very poor old state. It's a full restoration, so don't expect too much. It's not running. It hasn't run for a number of years. So yeah, going to look forward to getting that one running, because the systems on them, the injection system on that, it is troublesome. But we're going to have a look. And here it is. So like I said, don't expect too much. It is a full project. From what I've seen, 90% of the car is here, because obviously it's quite stripped. And there are also quite a lot of duplicate parts as well, as the original owner that was going to restore it started buying a lot of components to do the job. So yeah, there's a lot of doubles of things as well. So it's bound to be odds and ends missing. Hopefully nothing too important, because I know a lot of parts for this model, because it's a Mark 1, are getting hard to get hold of. Decent quality ones anyway. But yeah, if you have a look around it, it is quite a poor old way. It's painted Carmen red, which isn't the original colour. The original colour is Brooklands green, from what I can see. It's got a lot of green underneath the engine bay in places, all underneath the red paint. The green is the same colour as the Dolomite Sprint in there. So we'll lift up the bonnet and show you the injected engine. And there is the famous Lucas mechanical fuel injection system, which they're known for being troublesome. You've got on the side of the distributor, you've got a big metering unit. It's fully mechanical on this, not electrical like the TR. And you've got all these 6 injection pipes. So that is timed to the engine. And then at certain times, it's squirts pressurized fuel up these pipes to give it to the engine. This is a basic sort of the way it works. These are troublesome for non-return valves on the metering unit. Playing around, I've not really heard of anyone having problems with injectors on them. I think I've heard of people having them not spray correctly because they've not been set up right. But once they're set, I've not really heard of anyone having an issue with the injector. Throttle linkages are prone for moving and throwing all the each throttle body out of sync. That's a massive common issue that I've come across myself on them. That was a number of years ago on a TR6, and every time you set it up, it run absolutely beautifully, and then 2 days later, all be out of sync. Bits were moving that shouldn't be moving, or twisting. It's just a pain in the ass. Looking at the throttles, something must have been moving. But it is what it is, and he wants to keep the system on it. So I'm really looking forward to getting this one up and running, as I believe it's going to be a massive, massive pain. Still running the Lucas fuel pump in the boot. It's got the big Lucas, basically wiper motor bolted to a pump sort of looking thing. But I know it's not a wiper motor. It's a much more powerful motor than the wiper motor and the filter. So there's wiring that's all disconnected and been chopped. So there's extra wires been put in for different things. So yeah, we'll have fun and games trying to get it running and see what the engine's like. my bet is it will need to come out and looked at anyway, especially as it's been sat so long. It does turn, but obviously someone's already been playing. The water pump's missing, dynamo's missing, so someone's already been playing. It's had power steering fitted to it. I don't think the Mark 1 PI had power steering as standard. I could be wrong. If someone knows, please correct me. I'm not that clued up on the Mark 1s. But yeah, it is what it is. So another big project. So that's the time of year we're getting into with the winter. So the projects. So yeah, it's project season. But I think that is all we do have this week. So yeah, I can't think of anything else other than what we've got in next week. So next week I'm going to try and get the Land Rover that's been sat outside for weeks and weeks and weeks. See if we can get the brakes to do something. We're just going to initially put some brake fluid in it and see if they'll bleed off, just so it'll move under its own power. As well, the owner doesn't want to spend a lot of money on it. He just wants to so it starts and moves, so he can then sell it. So yeah, we're going to put some brake fluid in that and see what it does. If it all leaks out or does whatever, then we'll cross that bridge when we get to it and see what the owner wants to do. And then later in the week, we've got a Stag coming to have the engine removed. It's got a 3.5 litre Rover engine in it, as that engine's going into another car. So the car that is donating its engine is a complete project car, but it's got a good engine in there. So that's going to be removed, and then that car will be for sale with an original Triumph engine as well. So because the owner's got a Triumph engine for it, so he's going to sell it with the original Stag engine. But yeah, then obviously we've got to put the engine, go through the engine. Well, not a full build or anything, just check it over, maybe gaskets and seals if it's leaking, and put it into another Stag. So yeah, that's a lot. That's a big ball like that one to do an engine swap. I'll take it out of one and put it in another. Yeah. So, but on that note, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.